In today's search, we will look for the ancestors of Franz Hamták, a native of Tachlovice in central Bohemia. He emigrated to the United States with his parents and siblings in search of the American dream. His name appears alongside other family members in the 1920 US Census records. Frank was only 16 years old in 1920. He lived in Omaha, Nebraska, together with other family members. His siblings, Louis, Agnes, Josephine, and James, and of course, his parents, Frank and Anna. According to the records, they left their native Tachlovice near Prague, then part of Austria-Hungary, in 1913 when they emigrated to the US, just in time as World War I began a year later. We carefully studied individual records and lists of passengers traveling to the USA. At first, only František's father, also named František, traveled to America, together with 17-year-old Marie Hamtáková. According to the registry records, which we have thoroughly searched, it is unclear who Marie is. Because no Marie Hamtáková was born in the Tachlovice area, she is not listed in the 1920 census either. This character will therefore probably remain a mystery. According to the records, they set sail for America on October 17, 1912. Their destination port was Galveston. Their place of origin is listed as Drevčice, a village neighboring Tachlovice. They sailed on the ship Colon from the French port of Bremen to their destination on November 10, 1912. His wife Anna is listed as the contact person. 2 months later, on December 12, 1912, other members of the family set sail for America. Mother Anna and siblings Alois, Agnieszka, Josefa, Václav, and František himself. The family was transported from Bremen on the ship Bristow and arrived at the port of Galveston on January 6, 1913. They listed their uncle in Tachlovice as their contact person in Bohemia. And here we have the birth record of František Hamták from 1903. Franz Hamták, known as František in Czech, was born on September 1903 in Tachlovice, house number 24. According to the registry record found in the Tachlovice registry, his father was František Hamták, born in Vinohrady, currently a miner from Tachlovice, number 24. Son of Josef Hamták, a carpenter in Vinohrady, and his mother Marie, née Vondráček from Černý Kostelec. František's mother is Anna, born on October 3, 1872, daughter of František Pavelka, kotagar in Tachlovice, house number 41, and Anna, née Pokorná from Roblin. František's parents were married on June 9, 1896 in Tachlovice. When searching for the origins of František Hamták's family, we therefore begin in Tachlovice, which lies not far from Prague. The first written record of the village's existence dates back to July 14, 1234, when Lord Gebhard of Tachlovice is mentioned as a witness in a document issued by King Wenceslas III for the Břevnov Monastery. The village is dominated by the Baroque church of St. James the Greater from 1742. The church is mentioned in Tachlovice as a parish church as early as 1352. However, the original building was destroyed after the Saxon invasion in 1631 and damaged by fire, but in 1662 it is listed as vaulted with a vaulted main choir loft. Of the Gothic sanctuary, which was reconstructed at least in the early Baroque period, only the polygonal presbytery has been preserved to this day. Between 1740 and 1742, a significant reconstruction was undertaken, initiated by Anna Maria Franziska, Grand Duchess of Tuscany, and carried out by her court architect Václav Spacek. It is clear that this is where Francis was baptized. The cemetery also features a chapel from 1745 and an old ossuary south of the church. The school building, located directly opposite the church and cemetery, is worth mentioning. According to old records, it was built at the beginning of the 20th century. František probably also attended school there before emigrating. As a reminder of the history of the village of Tachlovice, there is a memorial willow tree, the widest tree in the Czech Republic, which is protected by law, or rather, what remains of it. It was planted here during the reign of Franz Joseph I, more than 140 years ago. As a little boy, František undoubtedly walked past this tree many times. The circumference of the trunk was 730 centimeters. Unfortunately, a lightning strike in 2015 severely damaged the willow, and now only a torso remains. Because the Tachlovice white willow was such a significant feature of the landscape due to its extraordinary size, its stylized form became one of the symbols in the municipal coat of arms. During our search, we also visit the local cemetery. We are interested in finding out whether we can still find the surnames Hamták or Pavelka in the cemetery. Although we searched the cemetery very thoroughly, we did not find these names on any of the gravestones. According to the cadastral map and imperial mandatory prints, we find the place where František was born more than 120 years ago. However, his birthplace no longer stands. There is now a new house at the current address of K Strany 55. František had several siblings, Václav, Alois, Anežka, and Josefina. The wedding of his parents, František Hamták and Anna Pavelková, took place in Tachlovice, as stated in the marriage record in the registry. However, the exact house number is not listed. Marriage record, Tachlovice, June 9, 1896. Groom František Hamták, miner in Tachlovice, born in Royal Vineyards, number 89, near Prague. Son of the late Joseph Hamták, carpenter in Royal Vineyards, and Mother Marie, near Vondráček, from Black Kostelec. Bride Anna Pavelková, born in Tachlovice, daughter of the late František Pavelka, village cottager in Tachlovice numbers 41, and Mother Anna, ne Pokorna from Roblin. Both are Catholic. Since František's father was born in Vinohrady, Prague, we head to the registry office there. In the archives of the capital city of Prague, we find his birth recorded in 1868. František Hamták was born on May 24, 1868 in Vinohrady, house number 89, noted as at the Lion. His father is Joseph Hamták and master carpenter in Vinohrady, son of Václav Hamták, a cottager in village Drevčice, Brandis on Elbe district. And his mother is Mary ne Vokalova from village Drevčice. His mother was Mary Vondráčková, daughter of Jakub Vondráček, a townsman in Black Kostelec, and his wife Joseph ne Pfeiffer from Black Kostelec. We therefore set off for Prague, directly to the streets of Vinohrady. We take old maps from 1884 to help us identify the exact place where František was born in 1868. The note Ulva, meaning at the Lion, which the pastor later added to the register, helps us to pinpoint the location. The address Vinohrady 89 at that time is now located on the corner of Vinohradska and Perunova streets, not far from Jiřího's Poděbrad Square, which did not yet exist at that time. However, the apartment building built on this site dates from a later period and is therefore not the house where František was born. In the second half of the 19th century, Vinohrady transformed from a predominantly agricultural landscape, where grapes and grain were grown, into one of the most dynamically growing districts of Prague. Farmsteads began to disappear from the former vineyards and fields, and their place was gradually taken by new city streets, apartment buildings and workshops. Vinohradska Street became the main artery of the entire district. It was built as a wide, representative road connecting the center of Prague with the newly emerging Vinohrady districts. Cafes, pubs, small shops and workshops where blacksmiths, shoemakers and especially carpenters worked quickly appeared on both sides of the street. They had more and more work in the developing city, from manufacturing furniture for the growing number of households, to orders for doors, windows and paneling for new apartment building. It was in the area around today's Jiřího's Poděbrad Square that one of the lively centers of Vinohrady was formed at that time. At that time, there was no Church of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which was not built until the 1930s. But there was already a regular street network and houses built by wealthy townspeople and small craftsmen. There was an atmosphere of growth in Vinohrady. Immigrants from the countryside were looking for work. Tradesmen were setting up new businesses, and the entire area was gradually changing from the outskirts of Prague into a modern city with its own pride. In a short time, Vinohrady became a symbol of entrepreneurship, craftsmanship, and bourgeois self-confidence in the second half of the 19th century. To complete the history of the Hamták family and find further connections, we visit the Prague Cemetery Administration to see if we can find the name Hamták anywhere in Prague. We find the name Hamták 4 times in the records. All of the records lead us to Olšany Cemetery, which is a stone's throw from Vinohrady. Olšany Cemetery is the largest burial ground in Prague and in the entire Czech Republic. It covers an area of more than 50 hectares, and since its establishment in 1680, when a plague cemetery was created here, an estimated 2 million people have been buried here. Here you will find not only ordinary graves, but also magnificent tombs and memorials to important figures in Czech history, culture, and science. According to the Prague City Cemetery database, a total of 4 people with the surname Hamták are buried in the Olšany Cemetery. First, we head to the grave in Section 20B, Division 19, Grave 20. There, we find a tombstone bearing the name of the Hamták family. According to the records, Joseph Hamták, who died on December 20th, 1996, and Marie Hamtáková, who died on March 6, 2002, were buried here relatively recently. The next grave is the resting place of Alois Hamták, who died on April 28, 1953. It takes us quite a long time to locate the grave because the numbering of the graves is not very clear in this area. Grave numbers are very rare. But we are lucky, as we count the graves based on a few numbers in the vicinity. We find Alois Hamták's grave, but it has no headstone. Finding the grave, therefore, does not provide any further information. The last name on the list of deceased persons is Joseph Hamták, who died on June 27, 1877. The grave is located in Section 5, Division 20, grave number 186. Even here, the numbering of the graves is not entirely clear. However, we find a grave with the number 185 and go through all the graves in the vicinity. We cannot find the exact location. Only later, based on an evaluation of the names on other graves according to the database, do we discover that it is the grave in the second row behind the Roth family grave, which we did not film. The grave is overgrown and covered with ivy. A black slab is hidden beneath it, but there is no name on it. We cannot find out any more in Prague. It is time to move on. To further our search, we try to find the marriage record of František's parents. Josef Hamták and Marie, née Vondráčková. Since we know that Marie Vondráčková was born in Černý Kostelec, we begin our search for the marriage record there, and we are in luck. In the mid-19th century, Black Kostelec, today's Kostelec above the Black Forests, was a small but important town that combined ancient history with a lively craft industry. The town's most significant monument is the chateau. Originally a Renaissance residence from the 16th century, it was built by the Smyžecky family and later owned by the famous Černin family. The chateau was surrounded by farm buildings and underwent reconstruction during the Baroque period. In the 19th century, when the glory of aristocratic residences was fading, the castle served mainly for economic purposes, as the seat of the estate administration and a base for a brewery and other activities. Nevertheless, it remained a symbol of the town, reminding people of its aristocratic past and rich cultural history. Another important landmark in Kostelec is the Church of the Holy Guardian Angels. This Baroque church was built at the end of the 17th century, and its tall tower dominated the town and its surroundings. The interior featured altars decorated with Baroque ornamentation, testifying to the piety of the locals and the support of aristocratic patrons. The church was not only a place of worship, it was the center of spiritual and social life. People gathered here not only for Sunday Mass, but also for celebrations, weddings, and pilgrimages. In the mid-19th century, when the town was developing both in terms of crafts and economy, the church remained a strong spiritual support, and its bells rang out above the daily hustle and bustle of the town. The oldest witness to the past is the mighty Kostelec linden tree planted around 1760. Its wide crown provided shade for pilgrims and local residents alike, and became a silent witness to the town's history. An important part of spiritual life in the town was also the smaller chapel of St. Adalbert, belonging to the castle, where people came to pray and make requests. It was built by Jaroslav Smyžecky at the end of the 16th century. Its simple construction was reminiscent of faith rooted in everyday life. A glance inside its interior gives us a good idea of the powerful atmosphere that existed here hundreds of years ago. In the very heart of the town, on Jansky Square, stands a statue of St. John of Nepomuk from 1778. This Baroque statue was a sign of faith and protection for pilgrims, and remains one of the most valuable monuments in Kostelec to this day. The 18th century chapel of St. John of Nepomuk, located within the town, also played an important role. It was a nearby place of tranquility that connected the spiritual dimension with the everyday lives of the inhabitants. However, life in the town did not revolve solely around churches and chapels. The local brewery, directly connected to the castle, also played an important role. It became an important economic centre, and its beer was served not only in local pubs, but also in the wider area. Beer is still brewed here today. The wedding of Joseph Hamták and Marie Vondrachkova took place in Black Kostelec on January 8, 1855, at house number 108. Groom: Joseph Hamták, master carpenter from Drevčice, house number 19, son of Václav Hamták, cottager from Drevčice 19, and Mother Marie, née Vokalek from Drevčice. Bride: Marie Vondraček, daughter of Jakub Vondraček, master tailor from Kostelec, house number 4, and Mother Josefa, née Pfeiffer from Kostelec. Joseph is 29 years old on the day of the wedding, and the bride, Marie, is 23 years old. The address: Black Kostelec 108. Is today the house at Lipanska Street 173. It is located a short distance from Smiriki Square. Josef Hamták was not born in Kostelec, but married into the town. We will therefore attempt to reconstruct his life between his wedding and the birth of his son František in Vinohrady in 1868. And so, once again, we turn to the registry books. In the Birth Register Index, we search for the births of Joseph's children. We find 2. The firstborn son is named after his father. Joseph was born on December 9, 1855. Marie follows on January 15, 1857. Both were born at Kostelec 108. We cannot find any other children with the same surname. So, we return to the Vinohrady register. In January 1860, another son, Václav, was born at Vinohrady 89. The family moved closer to Prague, to Vinohrady, between 1857 and 1860. Another of František's brothers, Josef, born in 1862 at the same address in Vinohrady, is also worth mentioning. He married Josefa Bilkova in Makotras. He worked as a metallurgical worker. Later, he lived at number 46 in Lidice. During World War I, in 1917, at the age of 54, he died of a malignant tumor in his intestines. However, we will search in vain for his grave in Lidice. The old cemetery in Lidice was destroyed by the Nazis during World War II, when they burned down the village of Lidice in June 1942. Very little remained. The gravestones from the former cemetery were taken to Prague to build barracks in Veleslavin. Now, it's time to return to the search for other ancestors. The surname Hamták did not take root in Kostelec. To verify this, we contact the Kostelec Municipal Office, whose helpful staff confirm that there is no one named Hamták in the population register. Nor does any such name appear in the cemetery records. We therefore moved on to follow the trail of the Hamták family further, to Drevčice. The first written mention of the village of Drevčice dates back to 1052. The village is dominated by the Church of St. Bartholomew, whose history dates back to the 14th century. In the first half of the 19th century, it was the center of spiritual and social life for the local residents. Children were baptized within its walls, weddings were held there, and the bell rang for final farewells. To this day, the church serves as a reminder of the important role that faith played in the life of the rural community. The cemetery in Drevčice is directly connected to the church. The graves, lined with crosses and old trees, bear the names of generations who lived and worked in the village. In the 19th century, not only local farmers and craftsmen found their final resting place here, but also entire families who were united by their work on the land and their respect for traditions. The fortress in Drevčice is also an important witness to ancient times. Originally a fortified residence of medieval lords, it was later converted into a farm building. By the 19th century, it had long since lost its defensive significance, but its buildings were a reminder of the era when it was the center of power and administration of the village. There are also small sacred monuments in the village. One of them is a niche chapel, which served for quiet prayers by passers-by and reminded them that faith accompanied the inhabitants, even on their daily journeys along the field paths. The bell tower in Drevčice occupies a special place among the monuments. Its simple construction had both practical and symbolic significance. It called the faithful to Mass, announced noon, and its sound accompanied the entire village during joyful and sad events. In this way, in the first half of the 19th century, the lives of ordinary people intertwined with historical monuments in Drevčice. Every stone of the church, every chapel or cross in the village square told its own story, and together they formed a picture of a village whose roots reached deep into the past. According to the marriage record from Kostelec, we know that Joseph Hamták was 29 years old in the year of his marriage. We must therefore look for his birth around 1826 in Drevčice, and we find it. Born on December 20th, Baptized on December 23rd, 1825, Joseph, Drevčice, house number 19. Father, Václav Hamták, cottager from Drevčice, son of Václav Hamták, cottager from Old Boleslav, and Ludmila Nezemanova from Nevisdy. Mother, Marie, daughter of Václav Vakalik and widower from Drevčice, and Anna Kopeka from Drevčice. As we can see from this record, the Hamták family is not originally from Drevčice either. They moved to the village some time ago. Further research into the family will take us to Old Boleslav in the future. And maybe even further afield. Given how often the ancestors of the Hamták family moved, almost every generation and quite far from home for their time, we begin to understand the meaning of this surname. The name Hamták may be derived from the word hamtat, which translates as to tread or to walk constantly. Based on this research, we now understand why this family bears its name and how it worked its way from small villages outside Prague to the American continent, far, far away. Nothing can stop people named Hamták. But for now, we bid you farewell and hope to see you again sometime.